Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm VelvettB, and thanks for joining me today for the speed build. So today we are going to be building a modern cabin in the woods. So I don't know, yeah, I don't know how winter friendly this cabin is in hindsight. Like, it looks really awesome in the winter, and I think it looks really cool in the snow. And that was kind of the idea. But then when I built it, I didn't really think about the fact that it's supposed to be kind of warm and cozy. So I feel like maybe a snowman or someone who really likes the cold lives here, because it's quite an open kind of plan cabin in the woods. Um, but that's okay. Sometimes these things happen in builds, and it just cracked me up after, like, it didn't occur to me as I was building it, but then after I finished building it and I was kind of looking at the photos, and like I used open doors and a lot of inside outdoor kind of living, and I was like, really, Velvet, is this a winter appropriate? And I don't know if it is, but I'm going to pretend that someone who really loves the cold lives here, and maybe it's Father Winter. Maybe it's Father Winter's cabin in the wood, and Father Winter really likes getting out in the cold, you know? Perhaps that's what's going on here. So I actually saw a bit of an inspiration for this. I know that a lot of people are out there doing their cozy kind of wintry cabins, and I was initially going to do that, and that was my plan. And then I was like, you know what? Everyone is kind of doing that. I want to do something a little different. And I love a modern, like a cozy cabin build. So no shade on people doing the cozy cabin, because who doesn't want to be in a nice cozy cabin? And, when you're surrounded by snow and you're by the crackling fireplace, and oh, it's just lovely, snuggled up under a blanket and maybe reading a good book, and you've got a nice cup of hot chocolate. Oh, doesn't that sound lovely? So yeah, I totally get that. But I'm a contrary kind of person. So I just get ideas in my head, and I was like, you know what? I want to do a modern cabin. I want to do something that's quite funky, and also I felt like building in a modern style. So this is what I did as a result of my contrary nature and a desire to build something modern. So I'm building this on a 30 by 30 lot in Moonwood Mill. So this is Prowler's Patch. And I've built on this lot. It's probably my favorite lot to build on in Moonwood Mill. So this is probably the only reason I remember the name of the lot. And also, I think it might be at the top of the screen there. I can't read it from where I'm at. But yeah, I think it was at the top of the screen there. Looks like it. So yeah, I'm building on the 30 by 30 lot. Now, the cabin itself is actually quite small. It looks bigger than it is because of all of the decks around the outside. But it is actually quite a small cabin. I believe I only do... let me think. I know it's 2 bedrooms. I can't remember how many bathrooms. I think 2 or 3. So, yeah, it's not like a super giant, really roomy cabin or anything like that. So I ended up having to do quite a bit of landscaping with this build, which I thought was really cool. Some of it I did get from the inspiration, like it kind of had like this kind of pool at the front. I've actually used a fountain here rather than the pool, but there will be a pool going in here as well. Perfect for a wintry cabin. My decision making, I question it sometimes, but yeah, anyway, it looks good. And hey, if your Sims aren't worried about the cold, then they will be absolutely fine. They will enjoy this beautiful wintry cabin. I actually think it would be a really good vacation house, this build. Anyway. So as you can see here, I'm using the the open doors. Let that cold air in. Oh yeah, it's gonna be really chilly in here. So if instead of a cozy cabin in the woods, I've gone with a freezing cold, modern, cool looking cabin in the woods. I did not think that through, but honestly, it's great in summer. It's so good in summer, and as I said, if your Sims don't mind the cold, then they're going to love this in winter. But I do have to do... Sorry, I'm cracking myself up there because I'm just cracking myself up. Just silly building things. So I am doing like a little bit of landscaping. I just like created these little different areas on this lot. So at the front, I've got like a sunken kind of fire pit area. Then you've got your fountain area, and then around the back you've got your pool off to the, well, it's more off to the side than the back. And then around the back, I'm gonna do a little barbecue area as well. And I did want to make the landscaping look like it did really fit with the area. So I am using the trees that came with the Werewolves pack. And of course I had to go into debug to do that. Because hey, why would we actually have the content out in the open where everybody can use it? No, we've got to use the cheat to get there. But yeah, I just created like different areas around the build, which I thought was really cute. So there's like lots of different interesting things for your Sims to do in this build, and I like that. And I'm going very much with a wooden kind of vibe. So it's the sort of that mid-tone wood, and I mixed it a little bit with the dark tone wood on the platforms, which I thought was really cool. And then a mid-tone wood on the wall, as well as mixing with the stone that came with the horse ranch pack. I absolutely love, it's my favorite stone to use, the stone from the horse ranch pack, and I'm using the grey swatch with that. So this is my little fire pit area. So that's just, I've done a sunken platform there. So I didn't, you can either go with a basement and you can lift up a basement and get rid of the roof, or you can do a sunken platform thing, just depending on if you want to be able to paint the walls or not, I think is really the big difference there. Yeah, that probably is the big difference. Like wasn't too worried about painting the walls on that, but sometimes if I want to have like matching painting walls, then you do the basement thing instead. And I'm using the rocks that came with the Riviera Retreat kit because they're a good match for the color of the rocks that are kind of around the Moonwood Mill area. But they are a little bit easier to use in terms of dotting them around places and actually combining them with the walls and things that I'm doing at the moment. So you can sort of see how I've combined the rocks around the fire pit area and then into the fountain, and then I'm doing a few around the pool as well, although they're not going so much in the pool, although you will see me do a little bit of that in a minute, I think. So yeah, just sort of creating those little different areas. I'm going to actually add plants in around the rocks as well, just to make it feel a little bit more organically part of the lot. And then surrounding the different things with the rocks, just to make it feel like the landscaping was done to work around the landscape, if that makes sense. So it's just all sort of harmonious and blended together. So that was kind of the idea that I had floating around my head, that I just did want to create. I mean, it's a cabin in the woods. You kind of want to capture and really enjoy the nature around you. And I wanted to make the nature part of the build. So that was really a big part of the landscaping for me, was thinking about how to integrate the rocks and the plants and bits and pieces with the build and how I wanted that to go. So I felt like I wanted to really capture the idea of the build being built around nature and the space that nature had allowed the build to be placed in. So that's kind of what I was aiming for. So I feel like I did a pretty decent job of that. And you'll sort of see I'm placing fog machines in the water. And that's because I wanted to have an in-game kind of effect with that. And you might be able to see that in the screenshots at the end of the video. I'm also adding like the little bubbles, the little bubble creators that you got with, I think it was Get Together. And what it does, it just creates a bubble effect in the water. So it's just one of those in-game kind of features. Like, you're not going to be able to see it in build mode, but when you go in-game, you can sort of see the foggy effect on the water, and you can see like the bubbles coming up, and it looks really funky. And that's just basically what I was going for there. It's an in-game effect. It's for in-game players. It's not so much just for build mode. So yeah, it's nice to think about, fun to think about those sorts of things, and just how you add more life to the build through some of the features that you get in the game. And that fog machine from the Party Essentials pack is absolutely fabulous. But you also get a bit of, I think, a fog effect a little bit with the bubble crack is what I said. It always came out something different. Bubble crack thing that you get in the pools as well. So again, because I was, trying to create that kind of natural kind of flow, I'm doing the terrain paint, and then I'm going to sort of have like a path going through the rocks at the front, and then this is just going to be like sort of a barbecue area around the back that I'm going to create. And I sort of was building this area here that I'm kind of painting at the moment, and then I thought, you know what, it kind of needs like something in that little narrow space, and there wasn't really anything I could think of that would fit nicely there. It's not like it's a family home where you need lots of kids stuff. It's more an adult sort of holiday getaway. So by the time I did a little bit more of the placing of the plants, I thought, a nice little pond there would work nicely. So I just did like a little tiny watery pond, and that I felt like that kind of fit the vibe of the rest of the build as well, because there is quite a bit of water in this build, as it turned out. I didn't intend for it to have so much water, but it just worked out that way, and I think it looks good, so I was happy with that. So this is my little barbecue area. Now, I did end up changing one thing when I was going through playtesting. I saw off to the side by the back porch there, there is, I put a couch there, but then I decided that I actually wanted to have stairs coming off that back porch area, so that you could go from that raised porch area through to the back barbecue area, if that makes sense. So there was like a little bit more of a flow to the build, and a little bit easier for the Sims to get around. So you can kind of walk around the whole of the house, which I think is really cool. So I added stairs in around the back because I thought that made a lot of sense. I actually really like the idea of doing the half balcony as well at the back, like the raised balcony area, through raising the platform and doing it that way. So you've kind of got a balcony that is kind of halfway up the back of your build. So it just sort of adds like a little bit of depth to the interior, which I thought was a really funky effect. And then I just kept it really simple with what was on the deck. I felt like this was definitely going to have more of a holiday home rather than a, you live in it all the time kind of home vibe. So, they're not ever going to have as much clutter and accessories around, because you're only there maybe for a month out of the year or a couple of months out of the year. It depends on how often you go on a holiday. Maybe you go for several weeks out of the year and you are a lucky ducky. So I ended up having to change a little bit of the plants up the top here. I think I had to take away the ones I just placed because the lounges there weren't accessible. The Sims were just not playing ball there. They were like, no, we can't reach it. I'm like, you can reach it. They're like, no, we can't. So I had to run with what they said. It's like owning a cat. You have to do what they say. Well, I end up having to do what he says anyway. My lovely cat. I've got two of them, but one of them's more bossy than the other. So the inspiration that I use actually had a lot of greenery and a lot of plants around on the decks, and I thought that was really cool. And again, just bringing that nature aspect into the into the build as well. So I wanted to capture, as I said, that. So I added lots of greenery, and we've got like a little easel so you can do your painting, your telescope for your stargazing. So there should be enough skill building things in this build to keep your Sims happy as well while they're on vacation. And then 3 levels. So it was fun working out the stairs. I did struggle a little bit with getting to the top level and getting in the stairs in the right place, so they're not taking up the whole entirety of the room, just being like stairs in the way. That's the thing with the stairs. You've really got to figure out the placement so you can actually do a decent floor plan, because if they're sitting in the middle of the room and then you sort of got like quite small rooms going up, it can be quite problematic. So yeah, it can be a little bit of figuring out when it comes to stairs, but I got there in the end. So this is 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. So I think there's a bathroom on each level, and then the bedrooms, one on the second level, one on the top level. So I feel like the master bedroom is kind of more on the middle level, and then it was like a smaller bedroom on top, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, really. You could go either way. So the kitchen ended up being like quite small, but it is functional. I did play test it and make it sure it was okay. And I I love, 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 love these lights that we got from. Oh, that's not the Party Essential. Which pack was that from? Oh, I can't remember now. I love those lights anyway. Was that Love Struck? Oh, they might be the Love Struck lights. They're gorgeous. The little hanging down sort of, they kind of look like pearls and they're really cute. I love them. But I find I do have to shrink them down when I'm using short wall, when I'm building with short walls, which I more often than not am because I love building with a short wall. I don't love a tall wall when I'm building, if I'm being honest. So I did get plenty of clutter in there, and on the interior, as you can tell, I'm using the stone. It's not something that I talked about, but yeah, I just decided to bring in like a touch of the rustic look by having the walls be stone, and I thought that was a cool effect. But it's like it works still really well with the modern vibe. So yeah, I was really happy with that idea, and I think I was happy with how that worked. So I thought, you know what, I want to put some more clutter into the kitchen and just give it like, you know, a bit more of a functional look to it. And so I just did a shelf with a bit of clutter running along it. And then I kind of did something different in that I wrapped around the counters from the kitchen through the door into the living room area. I just wanted to have like a little breakfast bar area where you can have your coffee and maybe, I don't know, pancakes. Maybe Bob Pancakes lives here and he's been making pancakes again. I mean, who knows? So this is the little downstairs bathroom, and it's very much open plan living dining because there wasn't enough room to really do a separate living room or a separate dining. So just kept it open flow and using the gorgeous Life and Death pack items there because I'm in love with those at the moment, and you're going to see probably see a bit of them because I love them. It just suits my my aesthetic in the modern sense, so I really like that. And then it was just a case of working out how I was going to do the living room because there wasn't really a great deal of space to put a TV. But I ended up putting one putting one up on the wall by the breakfast bar, and I was like, you know what? But I don't think about it till later. I was just like, oh, it's one of those things where I knew I wanted to put a TV in here somewhere, but I was just like figuring it out in my head. So I was like, all right, I'll come back to that. And then when the idea hit me, I just put it in, slipped it in there, which sounds a bit rude to say, but that's what I said, and I'm not taking it back. I slipped a TV in there, all right, guys? So the bathroom, again, just using Life and Death, and I believe I'm using the Tiny Home Stuff Pack toilet. It's one of my favorite toilets. If I'm doing a modern build, it's one of my go-to toilets. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's what I'm using. And kept it pretty simple as far as the color of the bathroom goes, just with whites and neutral sort of brown colors. I think that worked really nicely with touches of black. So we are up on the second floor at the moment. So this is the larger of the two bedrooms. And again, going Life and Death with a bed because I am loving that bed at the moment. And brought in like a touch of the berry shades, which I thought was neat. I do love mixing it up with colors, and there is, yeah, touches of that berry shade in there, which is really nice. So in this bedroom, I managed to fit a desk. So I've got a couch there at the moment, but I will change that to a desk. So there is a computer in this build, and it's a TV going in because I was initially going to put a TV in the bedroom, and I was like, you know what? I can fit this in the living room. So I got a TV in the living room. And did a nice big walk-in wardrobe for them as well, which I thought was really, really luxe and cute. I mean, having all that space for your clothes, but like maybe they keep their vacation wardrobe there, like it's something that they just keep there. Because I do manage to put a laundry in here last minute. I so often do that. I don't know if anybody else does, but I often forget about the laundry side of things, and then like I scramble at the end of the build to try and fit one in because I'm like, oh, I should have a laundry. And yeah, it's a little bit of a checking around and just seeing where I've got space to fit one kind of thing. But I did manage to fit one in there. So that was all good. And then I just added a bit of clutter to the desk area. So I love those little birds that we got with Love Struck. They're super cute. And then we are headed upstairs to the last room. So this you'll see me remember that I wanted to put a laundry in here. So I've ended up getting rid of the bigger shower and just putting one of the showers that you can kind of walk past in there, I think from Love Strike, and getting the last bits of pieces into that bathroom and then into the upstairs bedroom. So using the green swatch from that bed, which I love. It's such a lovely swatch, that green. It's just so pretty. And then just getting the dresser and bits and pieces in there. So that was basically it for the build. I just obviously need a bit of clutter because you got to look like, you know, somebody's there, even if they are on vacation. Maybe it's just their vacation makeup and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what these people do in their spare time. If they've got the money to have vacation wardrobe, why not vacation cosmetics? So this is the exterior of the build. I hope you can sort of see like the bubbles and the fog coming through with the water. It just gives it like a really funky effect, which I absolutely love. And I thought that was really cool on the exterior as well, just to have that I guess, I don't know what the word is. It's like it's not like a media element, but it's like a special effects element. That's the word I'm going for. Special effects ish. But I was really happy with how this build came out. I thought it was super pretty, and I love all the different little areas. And I feel like the wood gave it a little bit of that warmth. And I also really like that I chose to use the stone on the walls again, just to give it that cabiny and sort of a slightly rustic vibe. Even if it is quite a modern look to it, it's still, you know, I feel like it still captures that cabin kind of look to it in a way. Definitely a modern cabin though. Definitely a little bit more of a luxe cabin experience. It's not your average rundown kind of cabin. I just realized I haven't put a fire in there at all either. So it is really not your cozy winter cabin at all. It is, the doors are wide open, it's snowing, it's freezing out there, and I'm loving it. It's for the cold lovers out there who love to be cold and have a nice cold breeze coming through their house when it's snowing. Oh, not the most practical build, but it looks good and I'm happy with it. So that's the way it kind of crumbled out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun talking to you about the build, and I will catch you in the next one. Remember to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.